Good morning, Joy Nook Book Club. I'm telling you, the last couple of weeks, we have been having some phenomenal authors on here, and we're not stopping. I'm telling you, I'm excited to be able to share the piece of artwork, and I'm calling it artwork because from the from the package to the cover of the book and then the interior of the book, I mean, this author sold me, okay? Sold me. When I saw the book, I was like, oh my goodness, I wonder if she will come onto my podcast. And guess what? She didn't know me, y'all. She didn't know me, but she trusted me enough to say yes. And that's how God works. When you are walking in your purpose, Joy Nook, you already know that that is something that I say all the time. That I know that I'm growing, I know that I'm glowing, okay? And I know that I am walking in God's purpose for my life so
Yes.
that I can empower and impact women to shift, not pretend with it, not be scared of it, but do it fearlessly in everything that you do. And then when someone asks you or look at you like you crazy, like you're making decisions, well, why are you doing that? Right? What do I always tell y'all to say? I'm shifting. Well, this right here, this this right here, this book right here is some shifting, y'all. I will tell you, when you walk through the pages of this book, and I told you it's a beauty. Look at that thing. Look at it. Front and back, y'all. Boom. Okay. Okay. She wasn't playing. She wasn't playing, okay, with any of us with this cover. And let me tell you, she just didn't make a pretty cover, but she also plated up her words. She plated up her thoughts. She plated up her emotions. She plated up her situation so that you, as a reader, could walk through it and heal from it with her. Even if you're someone that has been there, done that, because let me tell y'all something, so many times when I was reading this, I was like, girl, yes, why? Why? I did the same thing. Did the same thing, y'all. But guess what? She wrote about it. She wrote about it. When the fog lifts, it's her journey. And oh, I don't want to get into all the juicy bits and things before we even get started. But I want to read something to you that resonated with me when I was reading the book. And y'all know how I am, okay? And I know I say it every single time. Allenia is extra, but that's okay. I can do that. This is what I read. My main reason for my writing this book, apart from what I have explained in the preface, is understanding and appreciating human complexity. In my journey to share my experiences and perspectives through writing, I have had the opportunity to gain a deeper insight into myself and discover more about myself. One of the things I found out through working with my coach, y'all, I say it all the time. The greatest and the strongest women that you see out there, Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama. I could go on and on and on and on, right? They have coaches. You're talking about powerhouses have coaches. Allenia has a coach,
Yes.
okay? Because in order for you to be better for someone else, sometimes you need a place to
Mm,
rest your
mm.
thoughts, rest your emotions, to because you can't go to your family all the time. Because I can tell you one thing, my mama done raised me, and she's still my mama, and she still be like, baby, what's wrong? But I'm not gonna bring everything to my mama. I'm not going to bring everything to my husband. I'm not going to bring everything to my sister girls, but you need a safe place with someone that you know, like, and trust, that they can help you on your journey. She has a coach. Okay. She says, working with my coach is which characteristics I fear most. These are, ready? Negativity. And don't sit there acting like you never felt negativity. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Deceit. Felt it, know it, understand it. Manipulation, y'all. Come on now. And complexity. The most active one of those fears is complexity. And sometimes you feel something and don't know where it's coming from. You feel a little off balance. You keep a state of
Mm,
confusion. You keep
mm,
guessing, you're second guessing
mm,
yourself when you
mm.
know you are crazy, but yet
Ah,
but he or someone else is trying to make you seem like you're crazy. Okay? You feel like, you know, you're unstable. You can't get
yeah.
your balance and your equilibrium right. You just cannot. You feel like you're always in limbo. Okay? Feeling stuck. We talk about it all the time. You're stuck in whatever situation, whatever situationship, wherever it is. It could be even in your career. It just so happened that what we're talking about in this book is something beyond that. And it becomes more intimate with your heart and your mind and your soul, especially when you give yourself to someone else. So I'm telling you, this author right here, and I'm going to make sure I say her name correctly. And if I don't, she is going to correct me because I am behaving myself today. Seme Eroh. Did I say it right?
You got the first part, arrow in the last part.
Eroh.
Arrow.
I am.
But you did good.
Eru. It's Eru.
Arrow.
Eru.
Yes.
Eru. And today she is coming to us as an author, a life coach, and an IT security professional. She immigrated to the US from Nigeria at the age of 17 to pursue her education. She feels called to help women who have been victims of mental and emotional manipulation feel safe, heard, and understood by creating conversations and dialogue around these issues. Y'all, I can sit here and continue to read, but you know what I always say at this point? The full bio will be above this broadcast in the description box, along with every bit of contact information to pick up this beautiful book. This beautiful book. And with that being said, I want to open the floor and drop the mic to Seme Aru. I am going to get this right, darling. I really am. I'm going to get this right. The mic
You
is
will.
dropped to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Allenia. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on to talk about my book. Hello, everyone. I'm Seme Eroh, and I'm glad to be here. So today I'm going to read a couple of chapters from my book. Don't worry, they're not long. I'm going to read from the preface first, but not the whole preface, just some parts of it. I say that I have made many mistakes and have had many, many blessings, but I have also seen a lot, and I want to share this with you. I am what some call an empath, and some may ask throughout this book, like my friends have asked me, why didn't you fight? Why didn't you speak up? I did as much as I could with what I knew how to do at the time. I almost lost myself on this journey, but I'm finding myself again and healing. Writing this book is a key tool in my healing journey. This book is about a girl who went through life blind. Blind as a young girl, blind as an immigrant, blind as a girlfriend, blind as a woman, blind as a mother, and blind as a partner or wife. Please hear my heart in these words. I found myself in a situation that just didn't go as planned. I have tried to be as candid as I can, but with being candid comes the uprooting of some feelings that I am honestly still resolving on my own. So, some may feel I have said too much, but I cannot share a half story. I have also had many say to me, you shouldn't write a book while you're still hurting. I appreciate the feedback, but I also do not want to write to you 3 to 4 years from now when I'm all brand new. How will you know the process? How will you grow? How will I help you with my perfect story? All tied up nicely in a bow. How will you know how I achieved my peace? I would have forgotten, and I don't want to forget. So let me write to you now, when it's fresh. My friends who advised me to wait mean well, but I am different. I will send my message and try not to write bitterly, but I cannot please everyone. Learn what you will. Learn what you will. I have to present this story from my viewpoint and hope that it does not come off as me being negative or bitter. I'm not bitter, just hurt. But I am also not staying in my place of hurt. I am moving on with my life and I honestly see more clearly now. I feel my peace growing more and more, and I no longer depend on others for my happiness or peace. I look above to the Lord, and He has blessed me with 3 beautiful gifts in my children. My children, please understand that these stories I share are not meant to cause you pain, but to prepare you for the life outside of our home and how cruel the world can be. It is not to shed a bad light on anyone, but to make you aware that life must be lived intentionally, and that when choosing acquaintances, friends, and even partners, you do have a right to be picky and stick to your values, which I hope I have instilled in you. Please know that I am your mother and I love you dearly, but it is my job to let you know where I made mistakes and may have misled you with what life looks like. This book is my vehicle to do that. My hope for this book is to help everyone see different perspectives and to see how your experiences and viewpoints influence how you live your life. I also hope that it gives you the courage to stop living in brokenness, decide to choose another path, and heal. I don't claim to have the answers. I just want to share my personal experience and the conversations I have had with several people, both men and women, to help provide a different point of view. Don't apologize for opening your eyes. So the book is in 3 parts, and I'm going to read from part 2 today. Well, yes, part 2 today, and 1 chapter from part 3. So let's see how big this one is. Okay, this is not too long. This one is Check on Your Strong Friend. The name of this chapter is called Check on Your Strong Friend. And a lot of ladies that I've shared this with can really relate to this one. So I'm talking about myself and a couple of other people that I know, a couple of other strong women. All women are strong, but stronger. Okay. So today I've been struggling with what to write about. And it's not that I write daily, but recently I've been following my conversations and experiences. I wanted to write about emotional detachment earlier on, then I changed my mind and thought about how angry I have been and how I haven't really enjoyed my children and don't really know myself, as it has been one thing or the other. Then I read a post from my cousin about a woman who was physically abused and is now a life coach telling women to tell their stories. And then I watched a TV show with my younger daughter. I had a terribly busy day at work. I have always worked from home, thank God. But working from home during COVID-19 is different. It's like we're all trying to prove how grateful we are to still be working, which we should be. I'm not complaining. There's also the added bonus of the kids at home doing digital learning and just the non-stop action. It's been a lot. I finally crashed last week and had to take a few days off work. Today was my second day back at work and my first day back working out. I think Caleb, my trainer, was happy to see me. Honestly, I'm exhausted. Around 10 p.m., I was reading another post my cousin had shared, and I finally knew what I wanted to write about. I turned on my lamp, got my laptop, and here we are. The post was by Jason Wilson, the author of the book Cry Like a Man. In the post, he said, they need a break from being strong all the time. He was referring to women. I sent him a DM and to see if he would talk to me from a man's perspective. We'll see. He still hasn't responded, but I know he'll respond one day. Recently, I've been telling those close to me that I'm tired. I had been telling my ex-husband this for a long time. I was and I am tired. Tired to the depth of my bones and spirit. I just want to take at least 3 months off work and travel. Go home to my country, Nigeria, and visit family. Eat the food I grew up on. Not have to worry about bills and being responsible. I love my job, so I don't want to stop working, but I don't want to have to work. I have a friend or a couple of friends and family who can travel for extended periods of time and not have to worry about their finances. And I certainly don't want to be a kept woman. But damn, can I get a break? I came to the US at the age of 17 from a foreign country. My parents paid my tuition initially, but I still worked for some of my upkeep. I have worked every day except for after giving birth to my children or looking for a job, which has never been longer than 2 weeks because there was never anyone to cover me. I'm now 42 and I'm still working. I thought I did everything right. I went to school. I did well in school. I got the job with the Fortune 500 companies. I worked hard, but no. I'm not sure if I really knew what I wanted, but I didn't know. But what I didn't know was that at the point in my life when I felt tired and wanted a sabbatical from work, I wouldn't be able to take it. So let me read that again. I'm not sure if I really knew what I wanted, but what I didn't know was that at the point in my life when I got tired, when I felt tired or wanted to take a sabbatical from work, I wouldn't be able to. So I'm this young girl thinking, oh, I'm going to work. I'm going to be so rich. I'm going to marry like my Prince Charming. And one day I'm going to decide that I want to take this sabbatical from work. So I'm just going to keep working because I know that one day I'm going to take this break that I want to take and I don't have to worry about anything. So the day comes where I feel like I'm done, I'm tired, and I can't take that break. The break that I've dreamed about, I can't take it. I have always been the strong one in most relationships. I don't know why. I don't want to be strong, but I cannot change who I am. I cannot pretend not to care if the mortgage is not paid or bills are not paid. I cannot turn a blind eye to my responsibilities, but I don't want to be responsible. I want someone to catch me when I fall. I want to have choices. I may sound irrational, but I want what I want, and I'm going to pray it into existence. I want to have a feature toggle, as we call it in software development. I want an on and off button. I'm always on. I'm extremely hardworking, too ambitious, and always learning something. I love it. I sometimes wonder whether I'd be so driven if my life weren't so hard. I love the good life, so I'm willing to work hard to have it. But I always wonder if the women who get the good life get to take breaks from being strong and have to. So let me start again. But I always wondered if the women who get the good life and get to take breaks from being strong have two heads or are aliens. So the women who have good lives, are they different? Do they have two heads? Are they aliens? Like, what do they do? Can they tell me, please? Because I need to know. They're just women like me. When I talk to some, they tell me how they turn a blind eye to things or truly don't notice or get bothered by stuff. Did I tell you I'm a warrior? So I can worry for the whole world. The whole of Texas and California put together, I can worry and sit there and worry about it for the whole world. And so I guess that's why I can't turn a blind eye to things. Some of them are just lucky with partners or have really found their soulmates. And some of them are so mean and end up with good men. Yeah, yeah, I know karma is a B, but I know, but you don't atone for karma. Is it a lifetime thing? Geez, I'm tired. So I'm just wondering, this karma, if I offended somebody somehow in some earth life, right? Am I still paying for it? Like I'm tired, please. So at the end of each chapter, I put like I don't know if this is clear. I put like a perspective. Okay, I think you can see this. Oh my goodness. Okay, I put a perspective up on what I think about the chapter. And I'm just going to read this quickly. I sometimes compare this situation to an emergency room. If you're not bleeding from a gunshot wound, you wait. If you show people that you're strong, they will assume you are. I got comments from friends during my separation from my husband like this one. You mean you were going through all that? Wow, you carried it with so much grace. Does that mean I should pass out from grace? Like really? Anyway, I'm healing from many wounds, but I'm the only one who can fight for myself as I alone understand. I don't judge people who are enjoying life because they're blessed or know how to play the game, but I'm still healing and trying to figure out the balance between who I am, what I want, how to get it in this crazy world. I don't know where I learned not to ask for help and where those who ask for help learned how to ask for help. I just know that I'm your strong friend, so check on me. So that was about, many women that I know, many single mothers, many women who are in marriages and act like single mothers or feel like single mothers. That was about me. That was my story. That's how I felt. That's how I feel. I'm still waiting for that break. I will come back and tell you all to write another book when I take that break. I will let you know. Um, I'm going to see if I can find a short chapter to read. Uh, Let me see. Okay, let me read this one. Okay, I'm going to read the perspective on my chapter called Red Flags. So I have another chapter called Red Flags. And I'm basically just talking about how I saw all the red flags and I just totally ignored them because I was naive, I was in love, I was under some type of invisible pressure to just be married. No one was pressuring me. The society just made me feel like I needed to be married. Nobody told me specifically. So, we'll talk about that one day whenever I get, everyone on to have like a chat. Or I'm going to talk about it on my YouTube channel. I'll tell you about that later. But, do you feel like a pressure that is not really literal, like, right? Nobody's telling you to get married or that you need to be in a serious relationship by a certain age, but you just feel like you do. Well, where I'm from in Nigeria, there is that unspoken silence, that unspoken pressure, like, oh, really? You're 30? And you're still in your parents' house. Okay, you still live with your parents. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, well, so how many children do you have now? This is you run into a child, like you run into a childhood friend or something at 32. Well, how many children do you have now? And you're like, none. And then, it just like, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, so that was me. Um, so let me read a little bit from the actual chapter, then I'll just read the perspectives, and then you have to get the book to read the rest. So only when you look back now do you realize that they were red flags. At the time, you thought they were subtle behaviors that were surely going to change or could be changed because the other person loved you and wished to make the relationship work, right? Surely, if someone is in it to make it work, they won't do things to jeopardize the relationship. So this was me justifying this red flag, saying, oh no, this is just maybe he's in a bad mood, or maybe he's still healing from his last relationship, or maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I'm being my normal worry self. And it's not really the way it is. So I just ignored all these red flags and I'm thinking, he loves me, and because of that, he's going to just change and he's going to be who I want him to be. People don't change. What they show you, believe them when they show you who they are. So I totally did not. I spent 17 years of my life um, with someone who was not hiding who he was, but somehow I just didn't. I refused to see it. Um, so I'm going to read the perspective of this chapter. Okay, well, actually, I like this part. So I said some people have PhDs in the silent treatment. So my ex-husband used to give me the silent treatment, and I hated it so much. Like, I didn't grow up around that. I didn't know what it was. My parents never, I mean, they argued, but I just never saw that. So I couldn't deal with it. Like, I couldn't function with this silent treatment thing. I mean, my cousins and I used to do when we were younger, but not to this level. Like, kind of like go to bed angry kind of thing. I was like, oh, so it was it was a very, very strong weapon that was used against me because it affected me very much, it impacted me. I don't like people having a silent treatment with me. Um, so I said some people have PhDs in the silent treatment. My husband, boyfriend at the time, certainly did, but he denies it till this day. Another one was his response to me crying or my emotional needs. I can cry for the whole of Texas and California. So I can worry for the whole of Texas and California, and I can cry for the whole of Texas and California. Anything makes me cry. I'm not sure why I didn't tap into this particular red flag, but he would not be moved when I cried. Are there really no men out there that will hold you and let you cry and make it like their life mission not to let you cry again? I couldn't understand it, but I still went in head first. Another red flag was his response to the tough questions. I tried, y'all, I did. I tried to ask the tough questions, but all I got was a gruffy, what do you mean? And I backed up. Like, once I heard that, I just backed up. Yep, I backed the hell up, is what I said. The heck up. Yes, I got intimidated and slowly I got silenced. I really don't know where I lost my way. Before I go on, I want to reiterate that I am not sharing to throw shade on my ex or to make you think negatively about him, but to open your eyes and correct what you can before you lose the love of your life. Red flags continued. This one was tough for me because I really don't don't want to seem critical, but we're sharing, right? Work ethic. I'm not just talking about your partner's approach to work, but just to any undertaking. I've always felt like I have no choice but to work hard at anything as an immigrant in the United States. I don't know if I'm lazy, but I operate from a place of not having a choice. So I don't know if I'm lazy or not. I just do it because I have to. Based on this, I didn't really understand or see what was right in front of me. It was not outright laziness, but it was doing just enough to keep my guard down. The stories, the plans were always comforting. Like, I was always comforted by the plans and the stories, and I felt like I was part of something. But 16 years later, I'm still hustling as a woman, and there hasn't been much progress on the other end. It was not just work, even with family or projects. So, that was another red flag that I should have seen was, the follow through, the consistency, the need to provide. I just excused it away and I pushed myself forward and I went in head first. I'm going to read the perspective and then I'm going to stop reading because I want you to buy the book. When we're in love and want something badly like a business relationship, we ignore the red flags. We tell ourselves that things will change. We tell ourselves that our love will make the difference. We assert ourselves and stand on the love in our hearts. I used to tell myself, surely he cannot see me crying and suffering and not feel anything. That he would soon leave the guest room where he had stormed off to and not go to bed angry until that became normal. Friends, don't let red flags become the norm. Once a red flag becomes a norm, it means that something inside you is not being heard or addressed. True love will listen to your concerns and make a concerted effort to correct those things. Speak up about the things that bother you to the one you love and give them a chance to do something about it. Not everyone is perfect, but if they are not willing to lose you, they will come around before it's too late. Not everyone is perfect, but if they are not willing to lose you, they will come around before it's too late. They will fight for you. Friends, your love relationship is your closest relationship outside of God. You have to take it seriously and you have to work at it. But don't ignore the fact that you can't really change people. People will make reasonable adjustments and maintain consistency in those adjustments for the ones that they love, but they will not change. Don't find that out the hard way. Learn to manage your expectations. Premarital counseling is one tool that I have heard is very helpful. A lot of what I have described about is above is mainly around conflict resolution and communication. I did not go for premarital counseling before my marriage. I did not belong to a church. And I'm sure it wouldn't have gone down well with my fiance at the time. But that's the only time you may have a voice that you can scream with before you get married. So scream for your life. All right, so that's all the reading today. I'm going to allow you to get an opportunity to get a copy of my book.
That I hit the wrong button. Oh my goodness, yes. Every time I was just like, yes, yes, that was good. That was good. That was good. I'm telling you, um, what you went through, and the part that I was just blown away with. You wrote this and you were going through it, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So what? Okay, so come on, let's talk about that
Yeah,
because
let's.
what drove that to do it that way instead of, okay, I'll take my journal notes and then I'll put it all together a little bit later. What really drove you deciding to go ahead and write this as you were going through your fog?
I kept getting a nudge. I'm very prayerful, but I was also more prayerful at that time because I was really going through a big battle inside me. And I stopped journaling years ago because my ex-husband used to read my journal and I didn't like that. So I started writing again, and I would wake up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and maybe a conversation I had had will play back to me, or something is like just write this, just write this, just write this, and I just I get I was led to writing, and I was led to write it because I felt like everybody was telling me, just take the time to heal, just take the time to to refresh yourself, just take the time to be whole. And I was like, and I said it in the preface, I'm like, if I do that, I'm going to forget, I'm not going to want to visit this again, and
Mm,
I'm not going to be able to
mm,
explain to
yes,
people
yes.
how what the process is. I'm going to come out on the at the end of this all refreshed and all new, and they're not going to understand that it's a process. And I actually do want people to fight for their relationships. I want people to fight for their relationships. I want people to open their eyes. So if I waited and I didn't share what I was going through as I was going through it, I just felt like that just wasn't the message that I thought I was told that I need to share.
Right, right. Well, I will say I thank you for doing it the way that you were led and pushed to do. That nudge. You listened to that nudge and you did
Yes.
it because it wouldn't have sounded the same. Not at all.
Yes. No, no,
Not
no.
at all. I mean, I know when you were reading the in the section red flags, and it's so interesting because I have my little post-its. Y'all see my post-its. Look where my post-it is. it's right in where she read. Okay. So I was like, okay, this is how God works. He knows that
Yes, yes.
I had my questions. And I'm like, she is reading what I wanted to ask her. Okay. Because you stated, but to open your eyes and correct what you can before you lose the love of your life. In red flags, who are you speaking of at that point?
At that point, I'm speaking to women who are, or people who are currently in, dicey situations, because I believe that they can open their eyes and they can correct. And if their partner is willing to fight for them, or if their partner is not willing to lose them, they can correct things before the gap becomes too big and because before things become too bad. So I want people to open their eyes to things that are red flags and work through it before it becomes too bad. Like, don't wait for 17 years like I did. That's so I'm speaking to my readers at that point, because for me, I mean, it was already done. So I'm speaking to my readers.
Okay, beautiful. And I said I'm going to clarify that because I wanted to make sure that I understood that piece right there. Um, One of the things that you also brought up is how you put your perspective in here when she wrote the book, y'all. Okay, so she showed you, and I'm showing you something else. This right here is discussions and reflection questions. What made you put in a section, a call to action section, along with y'all? She just didn't call you to action. She gave you no excuse not to execute. Okay, no excuses. She gave you blank pages. And if you're one that has to write real big or something like that, you're going to have to go to another sheet of paper. But she gave you enough space to get that thought down. What made you decide to, put in a discussion and reflection question call to action?
Because I don't want this book to be a book that you just read and put away. I want people to come back to this book over and over again. I want the book to be a measure of growth, a measure of healing, whatever it means for anyone, right? I want people to come back to, and that's why the colors and everything is so welcoming, because I want them to be like, where's my book? Like, where's the book?
Right.
Like, where did I keep my book? So I wanted, I just didn't want to write a book, read it, and be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I yeah, I know I said it before, and I'm going to say it again because I can, because it's my show. It's gorgeous. This is
Thank you.
gorgeous. I mean, it is gorgeous, and it is very inviting. It reminds you of, it has a, the cover has a journal feel, even though you know it's a book, but it has that, ooh, it's mine, like, this is mine. I'm gonna
Yes.
get something from this kind of look. So I think that you did very well in that choice,
Thank you.
the choice of color. And even with the how you set it up, because you set it up in parts. So what made you decide to do your book in parts instead of just a sheer, what, this is the table of contents, here's the information?
So, first of all, I'm going to give credit to my graphic designer,
Okay.
um, Carissa of Two Line Studios, because we went back and forth about the cover, and I told her what I wanted. I was like, I want people to love it and feel it, and just and she was
Right.
like, okay. And then I was like, my colors already, the colors I like. I was like, but I wanted to be soft, but I wanted to be strong, and
Yeah.
and so she just sent me the cover, and I just burst in tears.
That's when you know it's the right
Yes.
one. because that's what
Yes.
I did with my
Yes.
cover. Every time I look at my cover, I start crying. I just
Yes.
like when you talk about it, you start welling up, and you're like, "Oh, let me get myself together."
Yeah, I was at the doctor's office and I was like, oh man, they're like, ma'am, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I just, yeah, I couldn't explain it. So
Yes.
I have to give her credit. And then I also have to give her credit for, the setup of the book. But as far as why I put it in parts, um, like you said, I was writing it and I was going through it. But as I was going through the journey of healing, I was also remembering how I got to where I was and what about me made me put up with some of the things that I did.
Mm,
So it
gotcha.
was almost like, here's my beginning. Here's my childhood. I talk about my childhood a little bit. I talk about my family. I talk about some things about myself.
Mm,
And then I talked about my marriage in the middle part. And then I also wanted people to know that I was what I had done, right? I'm doing okay now.
right.
I've moved forward. So I felt like, it's a good way to kind of share parts of the book because I was in three different places at the time.
Got you. Got you. I love how you walked us through what you were going through, and so many of us are probably high-fiving, fussing, bobbleheading it, everything finger going. Put it down, be like, oh man.
Yes, yes,
So, and
yes,
that's the one thing I think some people don't realize, that when an author is putting something together, if they if they're giving you a true work of art, they are also keeping in mind who their audience is, so that they are
yes,
relaying that message, serving it to you. And I know I said that earlier on, but they're serving it to you in a way that you get it.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so what made you name it When the Fog Lifts? From
So
chaos to clarity.
so that was very many iterations of that.
Okay.
I was gonna call it glass house. I was gonna call it behind the smoking mirrors. I was gonna call it all kinds of things, but I always felt this picture in my mind of just like freedom. I mean,
Mm,
it's so weird. It's not like I'm free. I'm a single mom, and
mhm,
not that I had the help, but there was a presence of somebody else. So
mhm.
things are not necessarily easier for me, but I still feel so light.
Yes.
Like I feel like, oh, I feel so light. My kids feel so light. Like my face cleared up. I don't have any more acne on my face.
Right.
I feel healthier. So there was just, I had to, I was like, and so we're thinking, oh, flowers, meadow. I even went to like an escalator with like, you know, being free. And
Hmm.
so she sent me this, and then we talked about the name. And I was like, I feel light, like I feel like something lifted from
Right.
me. And she was like, oh, lifted. So I was like, yeah, because I felt like I was in a fog. And she's like, okay,
Ah,
what about, lifting fog or something? I was like, when the fog lifts. And then I had to get a subtitle, and
hmm.
and then we worked through gaining clarity after chaos and confusion. It's just I was in, like you were saying earlier on, I was in. So the word that I wrote down when you were talking about being in limbo earlier on is unhinged.
Yes.
I was always second
Right.
guessing myself. I was always like, okay,
Hmm.
am I right? Am I wrong? What did I do? Why is he mad? What? Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
working full time and I'm still trying to figure out why this man is mad at me. And I don't know why. Look, I hear the garage door open. I'm like, oh my goodness, what now?
Right.
You know,
Changes the whole space of the house, the feel of the
yes,
house.
yes,
Hmm.
yes,
Oh no,
yes.
I've been there, done that. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And so I had to kind of convey that, like,
Hmm.
you know, even my kids are like, you don't snap at us anymore. I mean, I still do, but not as
Right.
much,
But They do it this time.
Yes, yeah, not as much, right?
Right.
I think that's where the it was just exactly what I was going through. This is what I felt
Right,
and
right.
feel. Yeah.
Right. And I'd like, and that's why I said, I'm keep telling the audience, y'all, this she is taking you through it. And if you haven't gotten into a relationship yet, this right here brings up some things that you need to think about, because I know myself as, I'm the big sister in the group, and I'm always like, girl, you gotta watch that. That doesn't even seem right to me. Been there, done that. That's
Yes.
what I felt like your book was saying in your voice. In
Yes.
your voice, this book was saying, girl, don't even do it. Don't run.
Yeah, you
Turn, stop, run.
yes, yes. We deserve, I tell myself all the time, I deserve to be the prize.
Yes.
If I'm
Yes.
not the prize, then it's fine. I'm so happy with myself right now that
Hmm.
if I'm not the prize, then that's all. I mean, I'll tell you a story like today. So I went back to dating, and I'm dating someone who also went through like a toxic relationship.
Hmm.
And I can tell that he's not ready to share, like, my love language is words of affirmation, and he's not ready to share affirmations. And he feels like I'm demanding those affirmations from him, and I'm thinking like, we've only been dating for like 3 weeks. You should be falling over your everything, telling me, calling me everything,
Yes. Yes.
and so I had to ask myself, I'm like, okay, you have to practice what you preach. Like,
Hmm.
okay, this is happening. And then
Yes.
I talked with my best friend, and we're going through, oh, are you scared because he's like the most eligible of the lot, and so you're scared to lose? And she's like, you can't operate from a place of fear
Fear.
that
Yeah.
that's the best,
Hmm.
pack in the bunch, right? Like that's the
Right.
best apple in the bunch, right? So, so I had to like come back and look for the chapters in my book, read my own book again, like, wake
There you
up.
go. There you go.
Yeah. And I was like, and I told him, I said, I think we should be friends. I said,
There
because
you go.
I don't want you to,
Hmm.
do something you're not ready to do.
Right.
And I know what I want.
Hmm.
I know
Right.
what I want. I know what I need. And so, it's interesting. And I think it's also interesting to be in a place where you don't really, I have my kids, I've been married, I've been there, done that, like
Yeah.
you said. So I'm like, you know what, whatever, I'm
Like
good.
you're okay. It sounds like you're at a place of you're okay with being alone with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it.
Mhm. Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's a beautiful place to be in. I
Yes.
I I tell my clients that come to me, when they're coming to me for personal coaching, and I say, until you can truly be alone, and that's not hanging on the phone with your girls. That's not, oh, I'm doing this and that for the kids. I'm sitting in my car by myself while the kids are in there with their activity. No, I'm
Mm-mm.
talking about the kids are gone with grandma, pop, with their daddy. They're gone out the door, and you're with you.
I love it. I
When
love it.
you're with you, there is, you learn so much. I don't know if you've ever saw that movie called Runaway Bride.
I have.
And she always kept running, kept running. But it all came down to the fact that she wasn't running from them, she was running from
Running from
herself.
herself. Yes. Yes.
Because
From being on her own.
she didn't want to be alone. And until she did that was when she was able to attract what she had the capacity for.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes we attract the wrong thing because we're filling a broken spot that, what, we need to go heal from. And that's what I also received from your book, is that,
Yes.
hey, I'm not just putting this mess on him. Yeah, he a hotmess.com. Okay.
Yes,
We're gonna
yes.
call it for what it is. But
Hmm.
we're gonna also come back and say, you know what? Yes, he is, but I got some things I need to work on.
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
felt. Hmm.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I know that I have, and I talk about it in the book, I think in the chapter Underdog, I think. And I talk about, my brokenness as well,
Hmm.
my childhood trauma. And writing this book actually helped me realize that I didn't know what some of the things that I had gone through and what I went into a relationship with, So I
Hmm.
say that
Right.
people need to be whole. Like even as a mother, they tell us in church, they're like, my pastor said to us, he said, you have to be whole to be able to give
Right.
anyone anything,
Mm.
right? So if you're
Hmm.
not whole, then you're not fully giving yourself
Right.
of yourself to anyone, and then you're just always angry and upset and all that, right? So
Right.
I'm not saying I'm whole, I'm working on it, but
Hmm.
still,
Right.
that you have to be comfortable in your own skin.
And
You don't need human beings, you don't need another person to exist. And there's just this whole other school of thought around codependency and all kind of things, and I'm just like, yeah, I have my issues too.
right. And you owned your stuff, girlfriend.
Yes,
You
yes, ma'am.
owned it. I mean, and
I
you
sure did.
and that's how you laid, I when I was looking at how the chapters were laid out in each part, I said, I think someone was working through some things. Okay.
Yes.
Because I always read through the table of contents before I even start reading a book, just to kind of get a feel of that individual and
Mm-hmm.
maybe where their mind was while they were
Mm-hmm.
writing it. And girl, it was so good. I do have one last question that I
Sure,
just
sure, sure.
ask before we do our closeout and allow you to give all of the contact information in order to buy this beautiful book right here. So the question that I have is, how, I want to make sure I get this right because I wrote this one down.
Mm.
How do you feel about what your ex-husband feels about you speaking your truth through this book?
Okay, good question. So before I started working with my writing coach, I was very scared of what he
Mhm.
would think. I was very scared about, I was still in that place where I cared about what he thought. I cared about I was just scared. I was scared, what will people say? It's going to come back and bite me and all that. Then I started working with my writing coach. We started toning it down a little bit because I was quite upset.
Right.
We started toning it down a little bit, but she said to me, she said, um, you don't want to write a book and publish the book and feel like you left anything out.
Right. Oh, that's good advice.
Yes. So she gave me some time. She gave me a few days to think about it.
Hmm.
Um, because I had actually sent the Dear John letter. I'd sent it to a couple of people to review and endorse for me. And a couple of people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so bad. You can't say that. You can't." But I'm like, "But that's the truth, and that's how I feel." And then some people, so the Africans were like that, and then the Africans who don't know me well were critical of the chapter. The African American women, or Americans in general, were like, yes, that's exactly how I feel too. The Africans who know me well were very sad that I was
Okay.
going through that.
Hmm.
So I had to realize that it was bigger than me and bigger than what he thinks about. And I really have no intention of reconciling with him. And so I was like, you know what? I feel connected to this work. I feel like I know that I was led to write the work. And so I actually don't care. And I had to tell myself, to everybody else, is that the book is not for everyone.
Right.
The book is
Right.
not for everyone, but I know that it will help those that it's meant for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel. Like it's not for him. It's not about him. Um, and the only people I worried about also were my children, and that's why I addressed them in the preface
Right.
because of
And
if they. Mhm.
yeah, and that was actually one of the questions, but then I'm like, no, it was answered in the preface. She definitely addressed that, but it's just interesting how sometimes when we as women, once we start getting getting doing our shift, and
Mhm.
we get to that place of, no, I don't care. You were there. You know what you did. I
Exactly.
this is my work.
Go
This
write
is
your own book.
Go write your own book if you want. Exactly. Exactly. I love it,
Yes.
girlfriend.
Go write your own book. I mean,
Right.
it's a free
Because
country.
let me tell you something. He might say what he wants to say, but he gonna buy one. He gonna buy the book
I
so that
think
he
he
can read
I think he read it a couple of weeks ago because I
it.
got some very errant text, like very insulting text message. I was like, he must be reading the book.
I just want you to know that we here in the Joy Nook Club, girl, we are high fiving you the whole way.
Thank you.
I am
Thank you.
sending you that virtual high five because I'm like, oh yes, indeed. She done said it. And what you want to do about nothing? Nothing.
It's not for you. Yeah, it's
Not
not for
for
you.
you. Exactly. It's not for you. So, okay, Seme. Oh my goodness, darling. How can my audience find this beautiful book? Where
Yes.
what are, and find you because I heard you say that you're on YouTube. So come
Yes.
on, girlfriend, tell me something.
All right. So I've put the information in the chat, but also um,
Perfect.
for a signed copy of the book, you can get it at semeero.com. So my first and last name.com and you can order it so that it will come to my team and then I will sign it for you. I'm on Instagram on Semerity Connections. I'm on Facebook at Seme Eroh. I'm on YouTube, Semerity Connections, and the book is available on Amazon as well. It won't be signed, but it's available on Amazon, US, UK, and Europe.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. I love it. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from her, not from me. Everything that she has said will be in the description box so that you can click and get to her information if you want to follow her, because it's nothing like having a connection with the author. I appreciate you. I
Thank you so much.
truly, truly appreciate you for everything today.
Thank you for
I
having me.
really enjoyed this conversation. Y'all know I always, roll out with having something to say, okay? Something to say. But what I want to do is I want to read something else you know, that I enjoy because I believe there's more coming. I believe
Yes,
there's more coming.
yes.
So I wanted to read this to you before I let everyone go today. Yes, there were good times. I mean, come on. We had 3 children together. I know you're all wondering why I stayed for almost 17 years if I wasn't happy. I was happy. I did go in with every intention to grow old with my man. I was in love, and I believe he was in love too. Being in love was just not enough for us. I question everything now. I think back on all the good times, and I question it all. Was it in my head? Was I creating what I wanted? Was I forcing it? No, I wasn't, right? All right, y'all. Join the club. Thank you for another wonderful book club time broadcast with us today. And I want to say make sure that you look at this broadcast and the other broadcasts right up in the guide section, right here in the group, y'all. Okay, everything is housed right there. It's not going anywhere. And I want to say, have a fantastic weekend and peace and blessings, ladies.
Okay.